أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته brothers. Alhamdulillah, we are doing the series of the famous four Abdullahs, and we have finished the biography of three Abdullahs before the holiday break. We started with Abdullah ibn Abbas, the cousin of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We moved after that to Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. We moved after that to Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab. So today, inshallah ta'ala, we'll go to the next Abdullahs, and as we mentioned before, that although it's four Abadilahs as famous in the books of the history, but we'll talk about another famous Sahaba who is much senior to all these four Abdullahs, Abdullah ibn Masud. So we'll talk about him at the end, inshallah ta'ala. Today we're going to talk about the Sahaba Abdullah ibn Zubair ibn al-Awwam. And this story, the biography of this Sahaba, according to my opinion, when I went through this, the most fascinating one. We heard very less about this Sahaba, about this Abdullah. But because he is not like a hadith narrator, he is not a scholar, but his life is a life of leadership. He has the most leadership quality among all the Sahaba. Not only that, today we're going to talk about only his family background and his birth, and you will understand from the family background that he is the most blessed person to have the family members all around him, and they're all like very special people, very special Sahaba. So, and his story, the way his life ends also, and he is very much into the fitna that as called by the historian at that time, historian of that time, that he is the most person involved in this fitna. And inshallah ta'ala, when we go to that part in the next few weeks, you will understand why his story is so fascinating, and so much encouraging for all other people at that time. So let's begin, inshallah ta'ala. And this is just an introduction page, why we say that why we are doing this series, because we just want to know about this famous Sahaba, their family, their background. And when I say family and background, for their parents, we know because some of their parents are Sahaba, some of their relatives are Sahaba. So we talk about those Sahaba for a few minutes also to get the knowledge from them, and also their interaction with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, their personal life, their Islam, their struggles, and their contribution to the Islam. So let's begin. The Abdullah ibn az-Zubayr. Who can tell me who's the parents of Abdullah ibn Zubayr? Anybody can tell except for two Sheikh? Zubayr ibn Amma, and the mother? Zubayr is, you cannot see already on the screen. Who's the mother? Anybody? Brother Shafiq is here, so you can get at least $5 or maybe $10. Oh, he moved to new house, right? Maybe $20 now. 50, okay, inshallah. Who can say? The mother of Abdullah ibn Zubair. Your brother is Googling, right? Alhamdulillah. So your brother is Googling, Sheikh. He's already Googling the thing. It's Asma bint Abi Bakr. So we'll talk about her also. Okay. So the full name of Abdullah ibn Zubair is Abdullah ibn az-Zubair ibn al-Awwam ibn Khuwailid. Anybody remember the name Khuwailid? Who is related to that? Khuwailid is the last name, as you can say, of Khadija radhiyallahu anha also. So we'll see how he is also related to Khadija radhiyallahu anha. His kunya was Abu Bakr. Although he didn't have a son called Abu Bakr, but his kunya was Abu Bakr because Abu Bakr was his grandfather from the mother's side. In our language, we call him Nana. So his Nana was no other than the best person of the Ummah after the Anbiya is Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu. And Usman ibn Affan, he said in one of the narrations that he said, there's no one look as similar as Abu Bakr, except that he has, like Al-Zubayr has much more good build of the body, because they were young at that time. Abu Bakr as a person, he was a very thin person, he didn't have that much of muscle, but Zubayr in his facial structure was very similar to his Nana or his grandfather Abu Bakr. His parents was, as I said, Az-Zubayr ibn al-Awwam and Asma bint Abu Bakr. So the daughter of Abu Bakr, the sister of Aisha radhiyallahu anha, the elder sister of Aisha radhiyallahu anha is Asma, and Az-Zubayr is the son of Sophia. Who is Sophia? Sophia is the aunt of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not only an aunt, she was the full sister of Hamza. And if you remember, we'll talk about her a little bit today also, about who was Sophia and what's her contribution, how we know about her. And she was very close to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that, you know, وَأَنذَرْ أَشِيرَتَكُمْ, meaning that, you know, you warn your family members. So Rasulullah, you know, in a small gathering, he called all his, you know, relatives, all his uncles and cousins. So, you know, Abu Lahab also there. And, you know, in one of the narrations he mentioned the name of Fatima, that he said to that, you know, Allah has made me a prophet, and even as a prophet, as a father, I cannot do anything for Fatima, and O Sophia, you know, as an aunt, I also cannot do it for anything for you, as long as you not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, you know, he mentioned her name few times in the Sirah also, because she is very close to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as I say, the grandfather of Az-Zubayr, you know, Abdullah ibn Zubayr is Abu Bakr, and his grand aunt was Khadija bint Khuwailid. So we'll say how Khadija was, how is her aunt, the grand aunt, we'll talk about it soon. Let's talk about Sophia first, the grandmother. Abu Bakr, I'm not going to talk about too much because all of us know more or less about Abu Bakr. Inshallah ta'ala, in another time we'll talk, because it takes a long time to describe the life of Abu Bakr. But as you all know, he is one of the most beloved person to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you know, he is the best of this ummah as after the Anbiyas. So Sophia bint Abdul Muttalib. So, you know, obviously Sophia, the daughter of Abdul Muttalib, the, you know, aunt of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and full sister of Hamza radhiyallahu anhu. Full sister means, you know, Hamza and Sophia has the same mother, because Abdul Muttalib has few wives, but they have the same mother. And when Hamza got killed in the Battle of Uhud, you know, that is the time, you know, Sophia became very emotional, and she wanted to see the body of Hamza. But Prophet ﷺ told her son Zubayr, "Oh Zubayr, tell your mother not to go there, stop her, because she cannot take it, you know, the way the kuffar mutilated the body of Hamza." But, you know, Sophia was a brave lady, you know, a warrior lady. So she went and she saw the Hamzas, and, you know, she was crying for Hamza radhiyallahu anhu. Also her marriage and Islam, she accepted Islam during the same time when Hamza radhiyallahu anhu and his brother, you know, her brother accepted Islam. She got married with a guy named Haris ibn Harb. So he was the father of Abu Sufyan first. So he passed away, and then she married. So Sophia married to the brother of Khadija, and that brother the last name was Khuwailid, and he has another brother called Naufil ibn Khuwailid. So Naufil ibn Khuwailid was another brother of Khadija. And Naufil ibn Khuwailid, why I'm saying his name, because he was a non-Muslim, and we don't know any narration whether he accepted Islam, and he was someone like Abu Lahab, who used to torture people, like Abu Jahl, torture people. And Abdullah ibn Zubayr, the Zubayr ibn Awam, the son of Sophia, he grew up under these uncles in the same household, so he had to go through a lot of torture by that brother of Khadija. And also his mother, like Sophia, she was a tough woman. She was a woman of warrior, and we know about that. Sophia used to bring her son, you know, Zubair, with all the tough job. So, you know, she wanted to make her son a warrior from the very beginning. Okay, and Abdullah ibn Zubair has another two brothers. All the three brothers, they were trained by their mother from the very, very, you know, small age to be a strong warrior. Although they didn't accept Islam at that time, but this was the trend that, you know, she doesn't want to make, you know, their son, you know, a weak son or a weak person. The closeness to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as we described, that, you know, she is very close to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the first Muslim woman to kill an enemy. This incident happened in the Battle of Khandak, if you remember. You know, in the Battle of Khandak, when the Muslims were, you know, dig the trench, and they're waiting for the enemies to come, and it was a long month there. So a group of the Jewish people, you know, there's three groups of the Jewish people, you know, Banu Qurayza, they were attacking a house, or you can say a small palace, where all the Muslim children and Muslim ladies were there. So at night they sent some people to climb up the walls of the castle, you can say, and to kill some of them. That time Sophia was there, and all the people, even Abdullah ibn Zubair was a child, was there. He was there, but he was a child at that time, maybe 6 years old, you know, or 7 years old basically. So he was there, and nobody to protect. But, you know, Sophia, she saw that someone is climbing up. So she, you know, tied up her face, you know, covered her face, and she went there with a knife, and she killed the person, and she punched him first, and she killed him by the knife of the knife of the same man. So she was so strong, and she's the first one to do that and save the people of the castle. Once she killed that person, the other people ground, they said, okay, someone stronger is up there, and they thought that it's not a lady because she was covering her face. So she was so this smart that she covered her face so that people don't understand whether it's a lady. So they thought that someone is there, so they left, and they didn't do anything to the Muslim women and Muslim children. So this was Safiya bint Abdul Muttalib. Let's talk about the father of Abdullah ibn Zubair, Zubair ibn al-Awwam. He is one of the 10 promised paradise Sahaba, so as mentioned by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was a very close friend of the another Sahaba, Talha. So whenever you listen to Zubair, you will have the name Talha and Zubair. Also, he is a great warrior, as I mentioned that his mother brought him up like this way. The first one to draw sword in the path of Islam, meaning when he was a very little boy, maybe 10 years old, one day Rasulullah was sitting there in Makkah, and he saw that Zubair is coming with a sword, open sword, and running towards Rasulullah. So Prophet asked him, "What happened, Zubair? Why are you running with a sword?" He said, "I heard someone is trying to harm you. Someone tried to give you a hard time. So I came." So what you would have done with the sword if someone is there? So I would have killed him. So then at that time Rasulullah said, this is the first sword bring out for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the path of Islam. Also Rasulullah said, every prophet has a hawariyun. Likulli nabiyin hawariyun. So every prophet has a hawariyun. As you know, the hawariyun in English is called disciple, a special companion, you can say. And in my ummah, my hawariyun is Az-Zubair. He also said in another hadith, Talha was Zubair, Zaraya fil Jannah. Meaning, Talha and Zubair will be my neighbor in Jannah. So Talha and Zubair will be my neighbor in Jannah. That is an authentic hadith by Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He also said, in the battle of the Badr, and only a few Sahaba like Zubair, Khalid bin Walid, and Al-Mikhdad. These 3 Sahaba, they are the only 3 persons who is to go to the war and use 2 hands with 2 swords. Because that time the swords were heavy at that time. Okay? And only these 3 people had like 2 swords in 2 hands, and they could fight at the same time with the 2 swords. So they are that much of a strong. So in the battle of Badr, he came in a horse, Zubair had a horse, he came in the horse wearing a yellow turban. And very soon when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Jibril with the force of the angels, Jibril wore the same dress as Zubair. So Rasulullah mentioned that Jibril was also wearing a yellow turban, just like Zubair. And also the one in the Khandaq, in a phrase of Rasulullah, there is a phrase in Arabic, and the Sahaba used to use it all the time for Rasulullah. They used to say, "Fidaka abi wa ummi ya Rasulullah," meaning may my mother and father be ransom for you. Meaning this, even my mother. The meaning of it, that even my mother and father is nothing, for you. You are the greater than them. So fidaka abi wa ummi. So this is like saying something to honor someone. And Rasulullah, whenever Rasulullah say something, the Sahaba used to say that fidaka abi wa ummi. But Rasulullah himself used this phrase in the battle of Khandaq with Zubair ibn Awwam. So he said to Zubair, "O Zubair, fidaka abi wa ummi, go fight for your brothers, for the Muslim." So this has happened only with Zubair, but there is another narration that in the battle of Uhud, Rasulullah used the same phrase for another great Sahaba, Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas. So there's another narration for that. But another narration, so Zubair ibn Awwam, he probably heard it only once, and he said, Rasulullah told this to me, and I feel so much honored today. He described this to his other companions. And also, another thing about Zubair ibn Awwam, as I said, he was a close friend of Talha, and both these friends, they had a lot of children. At that time, Sahaba had a lot of wives and a lot of children. They used to name their children by the name of the great Sahaba or great warriors. So Talha used to name his child, especially his sons, by the name of the Anbiya. So Talha's first son was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he named it after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then his son was Musa, Isa, Ibrahim. And Zubair used to name his son with the name of the great warrior of the Sahaba. Meaning his first son Abdullah, although the name was given by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abdullah, but he said, "I wish my son Abdullah became like Abdullah ibn Jahsh." Abdullah ibn Jahsh was a great Sahaba with a great warrior. He had another son called Munzir, the brother of Abdullah ibn Zubair. Munzir was a great warrior also. He has another son called Urwa. And Urwa is also the Urwa ibn Masud. The Urwa ibn Masud was another great Sahaba and he has another son called Khalid. Khalid was a great Sahaba, so he has another son called Musab. So all his sons was the name of the Sahaba that he used to honor. Let's talk about the mother a little bit, the Asma bint Abi Bakr, the daughter of Abu Bakr, the elder daughter. So, and she had a title, that's the title of Azatun Nikatain. Azatun Nikatain means the holder of the two belts. So what did Asma did? Asma had a great role in the time of the Hijrah. When Rasulullah left Makkah with Abu Bakr, and he took shelter in the Ghar Hira, in the mountain, where Rasulullah need food and water and supply. Asma was pregnant at that time. She was pregnant with Abdullah at that time, probably 6 or 7 months. Even at that time, she wore 2 belts around her waist. 1 belt to carry the food, 1 belt to carry the water. Also, if you remember in this incident, when Abu Jahl came to the house of Abu Bakr, where Abu Bakr was missing, because Abu Bakr is with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that time, and Asma opened the door, and he asked Asma, where is your father? So she lied. She said, I don't know where is my father. Okay, and Abu Jahl, he is the most notorious guy. He's the pharaoh of this ummah. He slapped Asma bint, at that time. Still, she didn't broke, and she was so strong. Even in the pregnancy, she didn't say a single word. She said, no, I don't know where my father is. And this title was given by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah said, even in the Jannah, she will have 2 belts from the Jannah. Allah will gift her with the 2 belts. Later in the time, when the fitna happened, so some of the people, they are not Sahaba, they didn't know all the story. Okay, so they used to mock, Abdullah ibn Zubair. They were against him. Oh, he is the son of Azdakun Nikatain, the possessor of the 2 belts. His mother has 2 belts. What does that mean? So they used to mock it. So Abdullah also didn't know about that. Okay, so he went to his mother. His mother was still alive at that time, and to Asma, said, oh my mother, they are calling these things to me. What does that mean? And they said, they are calling about this one. This is an honor given to me by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is how they know it, because those people, the people in the fitna, they didn't know that this is something that Rasulullah honored her with this title. And we'll finish it today inshallah ta'ala here, because with the birth of Abdullah ibn Zubair. So Abdullah ibn Zubair's birth is also a very interesting story. When as I said, during the time of Hijrah, during the time Asma was pregnant with Abdullah with 6 or 7 months maybe. And when all the Muhajir come to the Medina, there was a talk between the Jewish people, that the Jewish people of Medina has spelled a curse of Muslims. So no Muslim family is having any child at that time. Okay, and it's like a rumor, spread among all the people, that something happened. We came to Medina. What happened to our no of our women are giving birth to childs. Because they used to get pregnant frequently. So it's kind of a thing. They thought maybe they spelled some curse or some kind of black magic or something like this. So in 3 months' time, just after the Hijrah, the Abdullah ibn Zubair was born from Az-Zubair and Asma bint Abu Bakr, and that he is the first child from the Muhajirun in Medina. And some of the narrations say he's the first child when Prophet moved to Medina from Ansar and from Muhajir. Meaning, when Islam moved to Medina, he took the leadership there. No other child was born. The first child was Abdullah ibn Zubair, and his grandfather Abu Bakr was so happy that the spell was over. They thought that okay, now we are okay, alhamdulillah, and Allah has given us a beautiful son. So he took his grandson and he held him in the head, and he went around the marketplace, just to show the other Muslim, give the courage that look, there's no spell, it's nothing like that, no black magic. Alhamdulillah, my daughter has given birth to Abdullah, and they took him to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, obviously, and on the first day Rasulullah named him as Abdullah. And from that we know that there is a difference of opinion in madhab that whether you should name him on the first day or the 7th day, or you should wait for the few more days. But it is okay to name the child on the very first day, as Rasulullah did for Abdullah ibn Zubair. And as I said, he's born in the 3 months or 4 months of the Hijrah. So if you say how old Abdullah ibn Zubair, you just say the Hijri month. So if he were alive today, so he would have been 1438. If I say Rasulullah died in 10th Hijrah, so he has 10-year-olds at that time, and he is the most youngest among all the 4 Abdullahs. Among all the 4 Abdullah, he is the most youngest one. and the naming was done by Rasulullah. The first word as a baby that Abdullah ibn Zubayr said, some people say mama, some people say baba, but for Abdullah it was Saif. And Saif means, as you all know, it means the sword. Because he was brought up by father, and just like his grandmother Sophia, to be a strong person. At the age of 7 years old, his father Zubair, he brought him to the Rasulullah and said, yeah, I brought my son to give bayah to you. Rasulullah said, the child doesn't have to give bayah, okay? But he wanted his son to put his hand in the hand of Rasulullah to give bayah. And also, there's an interesting incident about hijama. As you all know, Rasulullah used to do hijama, which we call coupling. It's a sunnah, and it is good for your health. So he did hijama, and the blood that came out from Prophet ﷺ, he put it in a small pot. He gave it to Abdullah ibn Zubayr. He was a very young person at that time, probably 6 years or 7 years old. So he said, "Oh Abdullah, take this blood and put it somewhere where no one can see it." So Abdullah went to some other places, to near the back of the bush or somewhere, and he came back to Rasulullah and he told, "Ya Rasulullah, I put it in some place that nobody will find it ever again." So Rasulullah looked at him, and Rasulullah understood, said, "Did you drink that blood?" And Az-Zubair said, "Yes, I drank that blood, Ya Rasulullah." So it sounds that weird, but this is the blood of Rasulullah, and obviously it's not sunnah, but it is only happened with him because he was a child, he didn't understand. So and he was thinking, why do I hide it? Because probably there's not enough place. So he drank it, but some of the people say later on, Allah knows the best. Because of that thing, he's so strong. He became so strong. Just like his father, or more than that, because he has the blood of Rasulullah. But when he told this to Rasulullah that yes, I drank it, Rasulullah was not very happy with that. So Rasulullah said, wailak min nas, okay, meaning you will have fitna, like wail, from your people, and the people also will have fitna from you. So Rasulullah already predicted that he did the prophecy that he will have a tough time in his life. He'll have a tough time, not because of the blood. Maybe the scholars say it's not because that he's angry that he drank his blood, but it's because Rasulullah as a person went through a lot of tough time. You all know the story of Rasulullah, how many battles he had to board, what is the life he has in the Makkah after the prophethood. So just like him, probably he will have a tough time, and we will see that it came true that Abdullah ibn Zubayr had a very tough time in his leadership. And obviously he was very, very close to Aisha, because Abu Bakr was so happy with his grandson, and Aisha as a khala, she was also very happy and very close to Abdullah ibn Zubayr. And that's why when Aisha went to Rasulullah and said, "Ya Rasulullah, all of your wives has some kind of kunya. They have some sons from the previous marriage. I also need a kunya. Give me a kunya." So Rasulullah said, "Why don't you take the kunya of your son Abdullah?" So Rasulullah mentioned him as a son of Aisha, and that's why the kunya of Aisha is Abdullah. Okay, Abdullah. And the last thing from that, hadith from Rasulullah that as I said, he didn't narrate that many hadiths. Only sometimes if he used to do something and people used to ask, "Why are you doing this, Zubair or Abdullah?" So Abdullah said, "Okay, I saw Rasulullah doing this one." So you will find very few hadiths from him because he was busy in the battle with his father all the time. His father Zubair was like a bodyguard of Rasulullah all his life along. Okay, anybody used to come to see Rasulullah, Zubair is always beside him. And when Zubair was there, beside him, his son, 7 years, 10 years old, he was always beside his father in the battlefield all the time. One of the famous hadiths, and I'm going to finish with this, that he was one day finished his prayer, and he said, after the prayer, he did the zikr, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, and then he said, "La ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu." So people say, "Why did you say this one? Why did you say the shahada like this after the prayer?" So he said, "I heard Rasulullah that he said after the prayer, if you say some narrations says 10 times, some narrations say 1 time, so you finish your zikr with ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu." So this is one of the hadiths from Abdullah ibn Zubayr. Also, some of the hadiths, some of the narration from him during the time of fitna, because he was very much involved in that fitna time. So we'll talk about it inshallah ta'ala next week. And that's why we got few hadiths from Abdullah ibn Zubayr. Inshallah ta'ala we'll finish it here. Jazakallah khairan. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.